Welcome to Moto Academy Members Podcast Episode 3, where we dive deeper into the world of motocross and the life of the Moto Academy community. This time I'm hosting this podcast. I'm Christian Geloof, and in this episode I have a fascinating discussion with the real GP. As the conversation went on for more than an hour, I decided to cut the episode in parts of about half an hour. Whether you are a TMA member or just curious about motocross, this podcast could be for you. Sit back, relax, and join us in this journey as we learn more about the life of each of the members. If you like the podcast, please give the thumbs up. Let's get started. This is part 3 of episode 3. Gentle people, welcome to episode number 3. I have a special guest today. And the special guest, let me click that. That is Greg Page, or better known as the real GP. Hey, I have a few questions I put in here. That is because I was a little bit wondering how that goes in the United States. I think I know the answer, but it is really different than over here. And that is the following question. Do you have a special insurance for motocross?
And I do not.
But does it exist?
I'm not even sure if it does. I know that I've seen some insurance policies at different times that basically say they won't cover if you're doing racing, and I don't know what the insurance companies define as racing, but I don't have any special insurance just for riding. And it's if I got in a riding accident, my insurance would cover it for sure.
Yeah, because just to give you a reference, and I think that's also nice for the viewers, that if you live in the Netherlands, and I think that's probably everywhere almost in Europe, except maybe some southern parts that they're a little bit less on that, but with your normal insurance, you're not insured when you drive the motorcycle. So even when you go skiing or stuff like that, you need special insurance for that. And also for driving motocross, you have a special insurance for only that.
Okay.
And we have to, you have to pay that every year extra on top of your normal insurance, so to say.
How expensive is it compared to your normal health insurance?
Well, yeah, I can give you the number. It's like 130 euros, so that's almost dollars a year extra that you have to pay for that. And I do not really understand it well, but there's only, in the Netherlands, there are two parties who are offering that, so you have to pick one or the other, and if you're unlucky, then you need both. If you go to some tracks that do not allow both, that you have that also sometimes. So there's sometimes tracks that are only allow this insurance, and another track that only allows the other insurance. That is, in that respect, a little bit strange. And the other thing is, and maybe you can also not imagine that, but if I would cross the border to Belgium, for instance, they do not have many tracks there. But if I would drive there a track, I'm also not insured anymore. So then I would need another insurance again. Now that is, and for instance, what I did, and that's also not so far. That's 1,000 kilometers, for instance, to Spain. We did that for a week with my friend. And then again, same story. The insurance that I have here for the Netherlands is only for the Netherlands. So if I go to Spain, I'm not insured.
So were you able to purchase like a week-long insurance policy for going to Spain? Or?
Yeah, that is also not possible. So the only thing, and it was really weird, I ordered an insurance in Belgium so that I had coverage for Spain, France, Germany, Belgium, several countries, Italian, I think, but not the Netherlands. That was the stupid story. And I had to pay because, we went for 1 week, but I thought, well, I cannot go without an insurance. I think I had to pay 300 euros or dollars for that. It was quite heavy, I would say.
I can see upsides and downsides to having that. I mean, I've known of people here with just their normal health insurance where the health insurance will dispute wanting to pay medical bills because they were riding a dirt bike, or riding motocross. So
my health insurance would not pay it, indeed.
but he got riding specific insurance, and and they'll cover it no matter what. And I mean, that's
Yeah, exactly. That's a little bit the thing.
cost prohibitive. It kind of seems like it could be a good thing. Could be a good thing.
Yeah, that could be a good thing. But I remember that I talked to AJ and I was talking about this with him, and he was like, "Huh, what are you talking about?" So I asked him, "So if you come over to Europe and you do a class, do you get yourself insured?" He was like, "But I'm insured." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" So he was not really aware of that. I think his insurance will pay for that, but yeah, that is not the other way around, so to say.
Uh-huh.
And another question: is this mandatory motor gear on the track?
Yes, every track here has, I guess, for lack of a better term, a dress code. And they
Okay.
want long sleeves, long pants. Like you can't ride in shorts. You got to
Yeah.
have boots and a helmet, goggles, and
Okay.
gloves. So yeah.
Just sort of because I was in Tomahawk, of course,
Uh-huh.
one time, and there was these race with the mini bikes. I don't know how they call these things, these small things, the pit bikes,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, there were just guys riding in jeans. I was like, okay. They did wear a helmet, but they also they're wearing a blouse like me, but a little bit more thick, and that was it.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay,
I think for events like that, yeah, it's kind of generally considered okay. If you don't want to wear boots, riding a pit bike, go ahead, kind of thing. But
yeah, but
yeah,
the race, huh?
it's I don't know, because I mean I would want to be fully geared up even riding a little bike.
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, um, I think you already went a little bit in this direction, but when and why did you start searching for motocross videos? When did that start for you, or did it start, or was it already there? What maybe on YouTube, or I don't know.
Um, I used to spend a fair amount of time on YouTube, and back
Yeah.
in like late 2019, early 2020,
Hmm.
uh, somehow uh, in my algorithm, a Ryan Hughes video popped up, and he was talking about, he had the bike on the stand, and he was going through some riding position stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Familiar.
well, this is really interesting. And in the early 2000s, Ryan Hughes was one of my favorite guys to watch ride, because he was like, I remember when he had to push his bike up the hill to the finish line
Yeah.
at Steel City National because he blew the bike up on the last lap, and you don't forget stuff like that. So I was like, oh, Ryan Hughes, cool. And I watched it. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And where I worked, I had this office all to myself.
Oh,
I didn't have a bike yet, but I started doing these like attack position standing just to see what it felt like as
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
watching Ryan Hughes do it. And then when you pull up a YouTube video and then other videos pop down in the feed, then this guy AJ Catanzaro pops up, and I thought, well, that's kind of a weird name, but I'll check it out.
Yeah.
And
So, oh, it's over there. Uh,
uh,
are there any? So Ryan Hughes, I hear that's also for me. That was in thing. Were there other things except to AJ coming by?
I did see quite a few videos from the MX factory,
Yeah, Tyler.
and,
Yeah.
and yeah, I saw Tyler's videos quite a bit, and I probably watched those. I actually almost signed up for the MX factory at one point, but
I did
uh,
myself.
I'm glad I didn't. I like AJ's teaching style a little better.
Yeah.
It's a little easier for me to understand and to internalize.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got really heavily into AJ's videos, and this was probably 4 or 5 months. Well, no, almost a year before I got my bike, and so I was watching all the how-to videos that I could
Yeah, but the how-to videos from Tyler. Eh? Think about that. Eh?
from Tyler, from AJ, from Ryan.
I
And
think AJ started not with how-tos. He started with how did he call it?
private lessons.
Private lessons. Indeed.
I
Yeah.
would watch his private lessons,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
there were there were always things I could learn from those, but I loved watching his private lessons. I watched hours and hours of his private lessons.
Yeah, I did too. I also explained to him that it is so powerful for if you watch a person that is not able to do it yet, and you can compare and feel a little bit like, oh yeah, this is also what I'm doing, of course. So I have to
Yeah.
need to change that
Hmm.
when you see that, but you cannot. What can I say? You cannot see yourself right normally, right? Yeah, unless
Yeah.
somebody would video you, but then still it, you do not immediately notice what's wrong. And for me, the power was in the fact that, yeah, he was explaining, look what he's doing. You see this and
Uh-huh.
this, and that's not okay because he needs to do it in this and this way. That was for me like, whoa, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that was light bulbs going off.
yeah,
Every one of the videos was a game changer. And he'd say something, and I'd stand up out of my office chair and try the stance, just standing in my office. And I'd always lock the door so that nobody would walk in and be like, "What the heck are you doing?"
yeah.
But yeah, I was just eating that stuff up for almost a year before I got my bike. So
Oh wow, so you looked at it for a year indeed. Okay.
yeah.
Um, So at what point did you decide that you say, okay, but now I want to become a part of this TMA of, because I think we talked about the MX Factory. He had a Patreon thing going on. AJ also started Patreon in the beginning.
Mhm.
I don't know if you seen that before. And then at some point in time, he started with the app, right?
That's correct. So I never got into either the MX Factory or Moto Academy's
Patreon.
Patreon,
Ah, okay.
but
So for you, that was already over then. I am thinking
yeah,
a little bit about the time when that was. So
they were there, but the MX Factory had put out a like you could pay them $300 and they'd send you like 10 hours of videos or something like
exactly,
that.
yeah. He had something like that, yeah.
And and uh, and I had had my bike. I got my bike in April of 2021, and I think AJ started the app in August of 2021. And
Exactly, yeah. So that was a more beautiful
yeah,
timing, so to say. Huh?
and in September, I was sitting there and I was like, I watched so many AJ videos.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna treat myself. I feel like I've earned it. I'm going to join the app so that I can get all this information that I can possibly get. And so I joined in like September or October of 2021 in the old original TMA 1.0 app.
yeah. Me too.
And, and yeah, and then, and I wanted to join because I was having so much fun learning on the bike
Exactly.
and to contrast that with my first time period of riding bikes before the 13-year break,
Yeah,
it very much felt like a scene, and I was trying to look cool and be cool on the bike.
yeah.
And it was so much rewarding to not have to worry about any of that and just to focus on progression on the bike. And
Nice.
some of my best riding experiences ever were, I would watch videos all week, and then Colton Brady and I would go out and ride, and I'd say, okay, I'm going to try this week, and would try it. And then I'd watch him and I'd say, well, try moving your knees back a little bit or try dropping your heels a little bit, and would see immediate progression from it. And it was just,
Wow.
it was electric. It was such an incredible experience. Every week we'd go out and it would be something new, or like, hey, we worked on this last week, and guess what? I felt really dialed in on it this week, and I was able to go through those desert whoops in fourth gear instead of third this time. And it was just constant progression, and we were stoked all the time. And it was a lot because of the whole progression and, constantly trying to learn and push ourselves to be better on the bike.
Well, I'm a little bit jealous at you because I have nobody to share. I think there are now two guys in the Netherlands that are also in the TMA. Because it is indeed what you say. It's nice if you can exactly share what you do and hear, etc., etc. So that is really, really, really nice. So I'm a little bit jealous at you because of
Well,
that.
I've got to shout out Colton Brady really quickly, because I wish everybody could have a Colton.
Yeah.
Colton has no ego. We were never really trying to impress or outdo or compete with each other.
Hmm.
It, if I had a really good riding day, he was as excited and stoked for me as I was, and
Exactly. Oh, nice.
and and that really helped me to learn that. So we were in a lot of ways kind of embodying the TMA mindset before mastermind was a thing,
Yeah,
and
exactly. I
it's
agree.
just that's just how Colton is. Like no ego with that guy, and he's just if you have a success, he celebrates it like it was his own, so
Nice.
that's how. And we were constantly leveling ourselves and each other up because of that mindset that we had. So yeah, if you can find yourself a Colton Brady, latch on to that guy and keep him. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm very blessed to have him in my life. So.
Maybe we should get him on post order, yeah?
Yeah, well, we need to make a Colton Brady world tour, and he can just travel with AJ and go to all the classes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Hey, do you have any classes planned this year?
I just had a class about a week and a half ago, and
Yeah, that's
uh,
understood.
the next the next event I've got is we've got summer camp in Salt Lake City,
Hmm.
August 8th.
Oh, nice.
That's the next one is hard on the schedule, and then we're going to have AJ and crew back in Arizona in December for 2 days of class.
Wow.
About a week before Christmas, and so that's what I've got on my schedule right now.
Okay. That's more than enough.
Yeah, more than enough. I'm really hoping. I know that the Moto Academy has 2 summer camps planned in Winchester, New Hampshire, out on the East Coast.
Yeah.
One in June and one in July. I'm not planning on going out for a full week of camp, but there are some things in the works that I want to be there for if I can. So if I can go in for a day or two,
Oh,
that's I would like to at least go and just see the Supercross track and
nice. Yeah,
hang out with some of the East Coast members out there. So,
nice.
but that's I don't know if that's going to happen, but we're going to try to make it happen.
Yeah, okay. Now, nice. Another question, a little bit related to this. Did you ever follow a class with a local coach or something?
No, I never have. The only coaching
Was
I've
that
ever
not available or?
I didn't really when I first got on the bike
Yeah,
up in Washington State. I didn't know of any coaches up there,
exactly.
and when I got here to Arizona, I was already tied into Moto Academy, and so
Yeah. Okay.
but we do have a few local coaches here who are very good. I just
Okay.
haven't made myself an opportunity to go train with any of them.
Okay. Yeah. So because yeah, for me, AJ is not so accessible, so to say. So I
Yeah.
started searching also after a long time of motocross myself. Then saying, yeah, maybe it would be also handy if I get some feedback from somebody else. Although I don't know, at the track we talk a lot about motocross, but it doesn't mean that everybody can give you feedback that it helps you, so to say. Huh?
Right.
That is also yeah maybe a special thing skill or something. So I did do quite some lessons. I started for me 2 years ago, and it was yeah useful. But I also had a big sticker of the Moto Academy on my bike. And he was like, ah, okay. Oh, you're part of that. Yeah, I'm part of that. So he was also a little bit like, some of the things he was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Probably you think in a different way about this. And that is, yeah, that's what you see, yeah, that different persons have different ideas of how to do something. For instance, AJ is all about keeping the feet on the packs. And this coach, for instance, that I was doing, he says, no, you have to put your leg out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's interesting to get different perspectives on technique because
Yeah,
different things work for different people.
yeah. Okay, I'm almost getting to the final question because
Okay.
it's getting late on your side already a little bit. Um, so, can you explain to the persons who are listening here how do we know each other? Because
Okay.
we do
Well,
know each other a little bit.
yes, we do. So I am a past trip winner, and even aside from that, I've always been kind of a big advocate for the community aspect of the Moto Academy, and so uh, I knew who you were already because we'd see you in podcast questions, and that's kind of how my notoriety came about. Was when I had nobody to ride with, I had a lot of time to think about riding, and so
Yeah.
AJ would say, "We need podcast questions," and there were sometimes I'd send in 4 or 5 questions an episode. So, you
Yeah.
know,
You did. Yeah.
yeah, we have a running joke that I carried the podcast on my shoulders for the first year, but
I think so. Yeah. I think you're right.
but so I knew who you were, but then AJ and crew selected me to be a trip winner back in 2023, and so ever since then, every time we've had a trip winner, for the most part, uh, I like to reach out to those trip winners, and because first of all, I'm super excited because I have an idea what you're in for,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
and how much fun it's going to be, and I like celebrating other people's successes and wins, and so I think I reached out to you to say, hey, congratulations on your trip win, and I don't know if we'd already talked by then,
No.
because I
No.
was
Not
always
one on one. That's
okay.
correct.
And
So
so I probably reached out and said, "Hey, this is awesome. You're gonna have a great time."
yeah.
And yeah, and so like Metamoto, that's how I met Metamoto. Justin Stuck.
Yeah.
I actually reached out to Fire at Will.
Yeah.
When he won a trip. I'm trying to think who else, but yeah,
How we Ryan. He
yeah,
was with you.
yeah. Kelly Ryan was with me, and yeah, I get to see him a couple or 3 times a year. Sometimes we get a ride together. It's really fun. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just reached out because you were a trip winner, and I was super excited for you, and uh,
Yeah, I
and
was
yeah,
also very pleasantly surprised that you reached out to me. So it was really fun. And because you did it to me, I reached out to the next person immediately as well in the same way. I was thinking, okay, it is such a nice gesture and it's just a simple thing. You give a message and yeah, you give them a little bit of heads up, a little bit like, okay, this is what it felt for me and enjoy this and blah, blah, blah. And indeed, what you say, you can yeah uh, enjoy for them as well because you can yeah sort of yeah be in their spot but then imaginary already, yeah, and it's already half, huh? So
yeah,
very
and
nice.
I think as you're saying that, one of the fun things about the Moto Academy is because it's a content creation company.
Yeah,
Like, not only was I excited for you, but then I got to watch your whole trip.
yeah, exactly.
After it happened, and that was
Yes,
so fun. So
and
it's
it's
like, hey, I know that guy, and he's getting to experience the thing that I got
yeah,
to experience.
exactly.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that is nice, and it's yeah. Therefore, I think every trip runner will have that. So if you look at the video, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can just imagine what's going on indeed at that situation. I can
Okay.
also, when I was looking at your video, because it was also an epic where you drove in that golf court. Nah,
Uh-huh.
that's when I was watching that video, I was like, oh man, these guys, how they must felt. And I saw you in the videos just this morning as well. You were like happy face, like yes,
That was like, I've known about that golf course track for years.
okay,
I never in a million years thought I'd get to ride on it,
no,
and so like that, yeah,
super.
it was. If it looked like I was excited, yeah, that's probably an understatement. So
Yeah, that was. I took the photo from that video, so I looked at the video yesterday, yeah, and I was thinking, oh, okay, let's take a picture there.
oh, that's great.
Um, I have this thing always here, and that is also a little bit the questions that I ask myself. So, yeah, why should another rider join the Motor Academy app or the whole community? Because this thing, okay, we put this into the app as well, but it's also outside the app.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also post stuff that I do for the Moto Academy in my YouTube channel, but I'm also like, yeah, how can I explain in easy words to another person? Yeah, why would I join?
I think there could be a lot of reasons, and I think for everybody it might be a little bit different.
Yeah,
Uh, some of the things that really stand out to me are, one, if you're wanting to improve as a rider,
yeah,
AJ's method of teaching for me is very simple to learn from,
yeah,
and and I feel like I'm a safer and more mentally stable rider because of the techniques that AJ teaches and
Hmm.
how he covers all the bases from the mindset to how to prepare for your first track day
Yeah.
and down to all the technique and so if you're somebody who wants to become a better, safer, faster rider, uh, in my opinion, there's no better place to do that than the Moto Academy. Now, and I think we've already established that I'm a huge advocate for the community.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
One of the things that I love about the Moto Academy community is that when you can come in with a question and it can be the most basic, mundane question. Nobody's going to beat you up for asking it.
Exactly.
It's a place of unparalleled positivity and support. And one of my favorite things, or one thing that I always try to do, is I want everybody in the app to feel like they're welcome, that they're seen, and that they're appreciated. And I feel like that's contagious throughout the community. It's a place where
Yeah, I
where
agree.
where you can find friends and you can find support, um, and yeah.
So, just giving you as a reflection, um, I think in the beginning also, I felt sharing stuff that I'm not doing well or a photo or whatever, what that indeed within the app I felt a little bit more confident because it is not, let's say, shared with the whole of the world. Although
Yes.
currently I'm doing YouTube and I'm sharing everything, but I'm sort of getting over it a little bit. But in the beginning, I can even tell you that with because that was in the 1.0 app normal had to do a video conference with AJ, but then just record it back forward, back forward. I
Yeah.
can remember that making the first recording, I was telling him, "Oh, this is difficult for me to do that the first time in that way." But um, it did make it feels safe to be in that app because indeed what you say, people are positive, they want to help you and not yeah, say, "Ooh, you're doing it wrong," or whatever. What
Yeah.
indeed, that is the positive thing. I can remember also that I in the beginning when I started my YouTube channel, I did not post everything on YouTube, but I did post it in the app.
Uh-huh.
So because it felt like, okay, this I can do in the app, but I don't do that in
Yeah.
YouTube yet.
It's a safe place for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like we kind of attract those people. Like we've seen some people come and go, and it seems like the people who would kind of diminish the level of positivity and
Hmm.
camaraderie we have in the app. They kind of filter themselves out, and so yeah,
Yeah,
it's
probably they do also.
a community, but everybody's welcome. I guess you could say so.
Yeah, I think you're right. That person also doesn't feel confident in that environment. Probably if yeah, we talk about these things in that way. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one question left.
All right.
Who should I interview next?
I think the world needs to talk to Premix Papa.
Yeah, Premix Papa. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did talk to him already, but
Oh, you did okay. So
yeah, I was a trip winner with him, eh? So
yes, and what a wonderful individual, wonderful human being. Um, yeah, and shout out to Premix Papa. He has helped me change my mindset in such positive, wonderful ways, and he's just he's one of those guys that you feel better about yourself just anytime you talk to him, and I love it. So, have you had a chance to interview driver Jamie yet? Because he's another one of those type of individuals.
okay, driver Jamie. Yeah, that I
Yeah,
didn't think
I,
about that.
I would, and if you want to see a candidate for the most interesting man in the world, driver Jamie is that man. And it's yeah, see, he's done more in his lifetime than probably I could do in 10. So that's a man you want to interview for sure.
Okay, yeah, I think I will. That's a good idea to do. Driver Jamie. Yeah, Premix Papa. He was together with me trip winner. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So I did talk to him, but you also experienced the trip. Um, I think we had maybe here and there only 15 minutes or half an hour that we could really talk to each other because you're busy all the time with other stuff.
Yeah, it's a whirlwind that never stops when you're with the Moto Academy.
Exactly. So, but I can remember, and I also said that in the podcast too afterwards, that we had some drives to the track 2 times, and that was together with Premix and AJ just in the van.
Uh-huh.
And then we had a nice threesome talk. That is because that then you have that possibility to do that. So
Yeah.
that was also really really nice. So we also really had not some yeah um what can I say, good moments about talks and stuff and how we see things and also how we looked at the TMA etc. That was really fun.
That's cool.
Okay. Hey, this is for me the end of the episode, I would say. Thank you for your time and also your. It's a little bit late time now, so it's a little bit less sleep this evening, and I really enjoyed that you be here in this episode, and I think people will enjoy it as well.
I hope so, and it's been an absolute pleasure to talk with you.
Okay, now it's really fun that I finally get to talk to you after such
Yes.
a long time, in fact, but that we are on the app
Yes.
back and forward. That's it's really fun.
I hope we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, if you like, I think we can manage that, but we have to think about when the timing is good.
Yes. Maybe when we're both not dealing with daylight savings time. So
Yeah, I will send the time next week, and you respond, and we'll see what it is.
okay,
If we
sounds
go in
good.
the right direction or in the wrong direction.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you
Um,
so much. This has been wonderful.
okay. Good. I'm going to stop the recording. I would
Okay.
say bye bye,
We'll see you later.
and we see you in the next episode, gentle
Yes, sir.
people.